call it High Tempo Marawa TV, we call it Marawa Moments, and we've been breaking away. I think it's been an exciting week whereby this time around, I think we haven't been to the Eastern Cape for a while, and we haven't touched base with this man in a long, long time. And he's wearing the colors of his favorite club that turns 50 years old. Putco Mafani, welcome, sir. How are you, champ?
I'm good, chap. I'm all right, man. It's good to see you, and thanks for welcoming me to the Marawa Moment.
Oh man, it's about time. And you know, they go very quickly. I'm not even going to waste any time. You're wearing that jersey. You love that jersey. It's a club that you joined in 1999. And you know what? You had about, 6 years and 1 month in this club. How does it feel still to be a proud Kaizer Chiefs man?
Well, the good thing about it is that I was a Kaizer Chiefs fan even when I was at school. So for me, it was a natural progression. It was not anything difficult. I mean, the pre-Naturena years of my life, the post-Naturena years of my life have been made easy by the fact that I've always been a club fan. I grew up admiring teenage Dladla, admiring Asen Tweleng, and Abo Sylvester Kole. These are the guys I used to admire and watch while I was still at school. So for me, really, it's been a natural progression, a very nice journey, So there's no hustle about it. And that's why, for me, there's no ending of the contract when it comes to the passion. You may end the contract, but you cannot end the passion,
Hey, but okay, you talk about a contract. I was even going to ask you this, but now that you mentioned contracts, I remember on that day when they ended it, and it was just for me an unbelievable moment. I think it was the 4th of May when that press release came out, and they said with immediate effect, there's a termination of contract. And I'm saying, what? Like, I couldn't believe it because you had become such an integral part and parcel of Kaizer Chiefs that you leaving was just not conceivable.
Well, I think somehow, Mr. Marawa, there were changes in Naturena, which probably some of us, who were in Naturena on merit, and not in Naturena because of any blood connection. And some of us really had to be sacrificed because there were people with the right blood who also wanted to play a part in the growth of the brand. Some of them, together with ladies like Amy and Vivian, Amy, who is Kalusha's wife
Wow.
now,
Yeah.
Amy Kasaleti, and some of us really had played our part. We felt that the people of the blood people who wanted to come in, we should give them space because it was either that or it was going to be uglier and uglier and uglier. So I thought, you know what? Let me bow out in dignity, because if you remember, I was in your radio studios when I explained this to the listeners, and I said, you know what? In cricketing terms, I have betted the 4s and the 6s in Naturena, and I still walk out not out, because there was nothing really that would be pinned against Putco Mafani as any wrongdoing. And that is why, the fans, even unto this day, I don't know how many other people who were appointed to sort of try do my work, who got in there, I've lost count. And even now, supporters even call me when they want to know about club matters. They phone me. And I said, but guys, I'm no longer involved. They said, no, man, nobody comes to us anymore. Supporters, and you can't fool supporters, because supporters knew exactly that it was not only about the kwasa kwasa. It was not only about traveling with the team. Supporters knew that this is the man who came to our community when we did not have a Kaizer Chiefs branch, and opened a branch for us and taught us the essence of going to the stadium. Because supporters knew that Mafani stood for at least 5 things. Have a supporters card, go to the games, particularly home games. If you're far away and you cannot come to a home game because you're in Cape Town or because you're in Swaziland or Gaborone or Maseru, all those places that are peripheral, that are very far away, if you cannot, at least when we play a cup final or when we play the Soweto Derby, I need to see a delegation from your branch. They knew that. So getting to Naturena, with about 80 branches that the great Louis Chakwane had built over his 14 years. And I go there and I take from where Louis had left with 80 branches and I build the branches until they are 330, having traveled around the country. And this is the part, Rob, that made my heart melt. Meeting the supporters right where they stay, getting into unentered areas, getting there and finding out, is there a chief's branch here? They say there's no branch here. I said, by the time I leave, we will have a branch here. We will have an executive committee of supporters branch because I want you guys to be organized. And that is what I loved most, So unfortunately, when the contract ended, I could feel there's nothing that is as bad, Robert Marawa, even in a love relationship. There is nothing that is as bad as sticking around when you see that you no longer want it.
Yo, but then, Mafani, quickly, man, quickly, on that, because when you talk about the blood people that wanted to come through and take over, we don't see a replication or even a close duplication of what you were able to do. Because what we were told and what that press release said to us, that hey, Putco was a naughty guy, he did this and this, he transgressed this and that, and therefore we end with immediate effect. And that is why I'm saying to me that the finality of the statement was such that something bigger had happened here that we might never understand, ever.
Yeah. Look, in as far as I'm concerned, how I wish at least those people who wanted to get in could have said, this is what we can do, and this is what Mafani can do. Let us coexist. Because if there's one thing, nobody can take away that which you have. It doesn't matter how much. It doesn't matter how much they aspire to be where you are. It's a question of saying, man, this man does what he does. And those millions of fans out there, they love him. How do we coexist with him? And it didn't happen that way. Then there were accusations that were baseless. As a matter of fact, I even won that Smolanyana kangaroo DC matter that was there. I won it easily because these were baseless accusations. And so, but after winning that, you may win cases, but humanitarianly speaking, if you get a sense that, hey,
But why though, Putco? I mean, for laymen like me who appreciates the work and appreciated the work that you do at the time, it doesn't matter. For me, if you are a brand-orientated team like what Kaizer Chiefs is or was, or however you want to term it, you mentioned Amy Casaletti, Vivian, the two sisters that made sure that in the letterhead of Kaizer Chiefs, there were at some point about 14 or 15 different sponsors that were there. Those were the people that were able to be there. Even at Total, Grant Nickel was there. He was able to do what he was doing. There were so many people that carry the brand forward. You are talking about taking from 80 branches to over 300 branches. Surely anybody in their right mind, and you've gone through this kangaroo DC, you've won it. There is nothing on paper that you transgressed. There's nothing legally that you transgressed. Then what kind of a threat were you posing? Because people were happy, you were happy, the brand was vibrant.
And I think probably certain elements were not even happy with the fact that I had won the DC. Because there was really no matter. But somehow I got certain attitudes which I regretted, that I felt I did not deserve those attitudes. I got some attitudes. When people want what you have and they cannot have what you have, two things will happen. Is either they ask themselves, how do we have what Marawa has got? Do we go to Marawa and say, share what you've got, teach us? Share what you've got naturally with you, with us. Or do we simply get rid of him and show him that we don't want you? Then Marawa will go around and say, I maybe Jensi, it was professional jealous. I don't know. And all I know, multi-talented as I am, and I hate to be the one that says this, there is a whole lot of, a pile of evidence full of demonstrations of whatever Putco touched in Naturena tends to gold. And it's not true. You know, when I go around the country motivating young people, I tell them it's not true, this thing that you are not replaceable. You are not irreplaceable. It's not true. Whatever you do, you alone can do it the way you do. And that's period. And that's why I've got to accept this and say, you know what? Let me work with this man. He's got what he's got. I've got what I've got. And together we can make a formidable team. So there wasn't that kind of thinking. I was always hoping that kind of thinking after the DC matter. I was always hoping that kind of thinking would come about where somebody will say, you know what, let's work together, man. You've got what you've got. I've got what I've got. But at the end of the day, it is the brand that will win. It is the supporters that will be happy. So there was no interest in what would make the supporters happy. There was no interest in what would make the brand happy. And I had to pave the way and say, okay, no, let me make, sad to say, my enemies. I hate that, but let me make those who do not want me, whether you call them enemies or what, let me make them happy and let me step aside.
So you were not ready. You were not ready to leave Kaizer Chiefs then?
No, my heart was always there. Even the big man, we played golf together thereafter. He even invited me to Kaizer Chiefs golf days. And when I go to Joburg, make a turn, visit him at the office, and I was not ready to leave. I felt there was more I would achieve with the team, and more that the team would achieve with me as well. But it wasn't to be. I don't know.
But in playing golf, because you've got all the time, did the conversation ever come through to say, is it repairable? You're the chairman, you're the man that's in charge, you're the man that has the name attached to the club. You're the man that made the Glamour Boys to be what they are. Was there no time in between your hole in one to say, let's have a brain in one? Let us ask the question that, is it ever possible to ever reunite again?
Let me take you back to winter 1999 when we were launching the Vodacom Challenge. And I was headhunted by the big man, Kaizer himself, when I was sports editor at Kaya FM. And when he headhunted me, he had always been consistent in his belief in me. Even when I left, that did not change. Even unto this day, that has not changed. So anything else that's a hindrance is slightly below him, not him. That man believes in me even now.
He didn't pull the trigger.
If he could, he would get me back there. It's sad. It's sad. My heart has always, wherever I go, I meet supporters and they say, come back, Baba. Since you left, that magic. And I've always been a believer of this. And I've always told him in my interactions and told him that even the advent of technology, what we're doing now, this virtual interview, even the advent of technology can never replace the fact that, at least in South Africa, when it comes to politics, football, religion, those three, you always need the interface, the human touch, the face and voice. You can never replace. You get the political parties to think they would replace the human touch, and guess what? You watch them die if they do that. They would never. And so it is in football. The brand of Kaizer Chiefs, when Brai, the late Iwet Nene, built the brand, he took the team. This is around 1969, 1970, took the team nationally on friendly matches, traveling on the road just to open branches. And for me, when I studied how Brai built the brand, I told myself what people will see on a Saturday afternoon and what people will see on a Sunday afternoon will only emanate because of my Mondays to Fridays activities, being out there, taking the brand to the townships and the small towns and the big towns. And that's why me and the coaching staff had a fantastic relationship, because I would tell whether it was Musin Etugral or it was Ted Dimitru, may his soul rest in peace, I would tell him, Coach, who is not in the plans for this week? Who's got a suspension, match suspension, or who's got injuries that I want to take with because I'm going to the Free State, because I'm going to Venda. So give me players, whether 2 or 3. I want to go on the road with players because I'm meeting supporters. You know, and so, and I took this from what Brai had started. Even now that there is what perhaps Putco's enemies did not anticipate, the lockdown, where there's no active football completely. When you got to think about if the fans cannot come to the brand events, take the brand to the fans. Worse now, because it is the 50th birthday celebrations, supposedly. We in April already, almost halfway. You've not seen anything that says, here are the 50 years celebrations. So logic tells Mafani, who was always innovative, that this time you're supposed to have new innovations about how you service those people, service their loyalty and faithfulness over the years by taking the brand. And Mafani decides this on his own without the club. You know what? Let me launch my album. Let me take this brand to their cars, their sofas at home, their bedrooms. Take the brand through a music CD. When the action is locked down, the brand should not be locked down. The action is locked down, but it doesn't mean that the brand should be locked down.
Tell me about that, though, because I know that you've been communicating quite heavily about it, and it's a very important point where I even saw articles over the weekend. Some of the newspaper editors or sports editors were complaining, saying that they don't have access to any of the players. The clubs have decided to have a lockdown on access and accessibility to players. I can't do what I'm doing with you now with the Samir Nokovic because they're not allowed to do that. There's no football. So tangibly, how is this helping? But you've also been innovative enough. And like you say, the musical side, what is it that you've done? Because I know what you've done, but share that with the public.
If this does not happen, it means that there's a disconnect in understanding the brand and the market it's supposed to service. This is a huge brand, and there's nothing wrong in scheduling. If you have 28 players on the roll, in scheduling them at least a player a day or a player a week that people can bond with on Facebook Live, on whatever, on radio, on television. Take the brand to the people. Bring these players on these platforms where they can have a live interaction, live video interaction. As I have said, Instagram Live, Facebook Live. Bring a star player there, service the brand. Then that would mean that there's a disconnect. Somebody's not understanding how to service the brand while the action is locked down. Don't lock the brand down. Take the players out through technology. Let them service, let them meet their fans. Hold a fans rally, a virtual supporters rally. But if you cannot innovatively bring about those things, because the fans have got the devices, they connected. They've got smartphones, they've got iPads, they've got laptops, they've got all of these things, you know. So service that. The other question is 50th celebrations. Have you got a 50th virtual gala dinner? Can you think about it? Can you bring it about? Can you have a media cocktail, virtual one, just on the subject of the 50 years? It all emanates with passion. There's one thing, Marawa, that will always either take us up there or it will bring us down. It is called purpose. When people lose purpose of why they do what they do, it shows somewhere in the distance afar, it will show you that the purpose was wrong. The purpose for Mafani to get to Naturena was wrong. It will show somewhere. Or if the purpose was good, it will show. So it's the purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you not doing what you're doing? Let's go back to the purpose. It's the purpose. I mean, supporters, man. I was told the other day, supporters saw me at the Soweto Derby, the very recent 1-0 Soweto Derby. I was there, and supporters, they saw me there. They were talking about a simple thing, a supporters club card. They said, for years we don't have a supporters club card. It pains me. It pains me. But what I can do in my capacity as a fan, because I am a fan, I've tried helping Platinum Stars. I've tried helping Cheaper. Oh my goodness. All of that didn't work. The less said about that, the better.
But Chipper's right there. Chipper's right there. Chipper is right there. I mean, hey, beyond Aspelelang, Shota Uchipa, surely there's a whole lot more that you could have taken from Naturina, taken from here, the grey matter, the stuff between your ears, and brought to that club. Surely.
Yeah, but the question is the recipient, the one who is supposed to receive that. Do they come to terms with what you bring on board? Can they comprehend the stuff that you're bringing on board?
But why are they resisting?
I don't know. So me personally, let's forget about that. Me personally, I then said to myself, there's something that got me connected with fans, either during games or when I'm on Metro with Marawa, and fans would be excited because I sang for them. Besuma, Somlandela, Besuma, Somlandela, Ewashia, Ama defender, Besuma, Somlandela. I said, we can build on that. I said, we can build on that. Then there's a gentleman called Gina Ntapo.
Yes.
He is a music wizard. He is a producer, he's a pianist, he's an arranger, he's a sound engineer, he's a composer. And so Gina called me. He said, hey, Mafani, I've been telling you for years, when that you must sing. And indeed, he had been pestering me about this. I said to him, you know what, this is the time. And that was before I knew there would be COVID-19 lockdowns. When we went to the studio, he just said to me, let's do this. The time is right. And the club is going to be celebrating 50 years. That was last year, November. Let's do this. So we went to studio, and he had prepared some tracks, and he came with him with, there is a music group called Emmanuel Ministries Gospel. It's a gospel group, and he brought some musicians from this group and some independent ones, and his own son who plays bass guitar, and we got into the studio, and we started. I said to him, it would be good to do new songs, but my belief is that if we want to sustain the connect, let's also do sing-along songs. So let's rearrange some of the popular church hymns and church choruses that will make supporters sing along. And this is what is going to happen now. We are now at level 4 of the lockdown easy. And when we come to level 3 and level 2, and the music stores do open and the CD is available on the music stores, we're going to reconnect, because then the fans will then sing along. And that's why in the album, there's a combination of songs that are dedicated to Kaizer Mudaung himself, the man. And there are also songs that are paying tribute and celebrating the club, the brand. In the album, I do a song, Igama lama kosa mahlema, libongwe igama lama kosa mahlema, libongwe ma libongwe ma libongwe. Now those are sing-along songs. Those are sing-along songs, you know. Sishudumo luga keiza nolwa makosi. Sishudumo dumo oh nolwa makosi. And then you turn around and say, Keiza mudawung, Keiza mudawung, Keiza mudawung. So it is those kind of sing-along songs. These songs, when you make them, if you've not been out there to branches and lead a motorcade of 50 cars, then you won't comprehend. I mean, I've been to towns, even in the Northern Cape, places I was there for the first time, where you get there, the few supporters you've been communicating with, they have arranged a motorcade with traffic cops, between 30 and 50 cars coming to meet their PRO. And from there, you drive to a stadium in that motorcade, or you drive to a community hall to address them. And at the hall, you have 1,000 people waiting for you to, I mean, the same spirit there was when Mandela would do the motorcades in the townships. Now, when you do this music of the sing-along songs, the visuals of the motorcades kick in. The visuals of the supporters' rallies kick in. The visuals of the stadium atmosphere, when you used to sing Mbesuma with 60,000 people, that imagination kicks in, Marawa. And all of a sudden in the studio, you have goosebumps.
Mamela, my friend. Yo, I'm loving this. I'm just being reminded about time. I realized through time, and you know how passionate I've been regarding the Ellis Park disaster. And I know that it has you in the center of it. You were talking about fans. You were witness firsthand of the fans dropping one by one on that day, April 11, 43 people passing away in one night of football. Big decisions having to be made. You, with your God-ordained presence, that voice of reason, Dr. Robin Peterson being there, Andrew Debila being there, Ngonde Balfour, the chairman of the respective clubs, everything was happening that night. Yes, we can argue and debate about whether or not the families have been, or the people that passed away have been honored enough. We can debate about it. But in the same way that we talk about the 50 years of Kaizer Chiefs' existence, we talk next year about 20 years since that fateful night. Surely, Mr. Mafani, we can't be asking, begging, or pleading that something bigger needs to happen in honor of those 43 lives.
If I were still with the club, or if I had an opportunity to exchange ideas with the chairman, and together with the chairman of Orlando Pirates, who happens to be the chairman of the league, Dr. Abin Khoza, definitely I would, and I still believe I will, sell an idea of a friendly Soweto derby that we can trace back those 43 families and just raise some hectic money for them. and also a massive gospel festival with your top 20 artists who sing gospel music in South Africa, maybe other genres as well, and just bring your top 20 artists in the country. It doesn't matter who they are, whether they are whether they are hip hop artists or just bring them into the very Ellis Park and have a massive concert. Take all that money to the 43 families, together with a Soweto Derby friendly. Take all that money to the 43 families, just to say, we cannot buy back the lives of the 43. We cannot bring them back. But you know what? We care. Because every 11 April, these people bleed. If there's anything that we probably can do is to give them an envelope to say, stop the bleeding. Because people do die from excessive bleeding. So every year, even now a few weeks ago, they were bleeding. They bleed every time. So you got to have out of the box ideas, radical ideas, to have a radical consolation. Because you know what? If it made them bleed on the 19th anniversary, the 18th, the 17th, the 16th, going backward, it's going to make them bleed more on the 20th. And we cannot fold our arms. We got to do something.
I'm glad you've got an idea. I'm glad you've got a couple of ideas.
And on top of that, you know what? On the build-up of those kind of events, you mobilize through social media, people pledging. Do you know how much people would love to pledge? I mean, Kaizer Chiefs on its own has more than 11 million fans. Orlando Pirates on its own, equally so. And those people around the country, if you had them pledging something towards the 43 families, do you know how much you would collect for those families?
I love the
Just
plan.
to do it.
I love the
you know
plan.
what, Marawa? You do a bumper event that would make them say, you know what? We're proud of these two gentlemen, Daung and Koza. We're proud of you.
Bob, thank you so much for your time. All I'm going to give you to close, because I'm going to be in trouble if I don't allow you to emulate the great Dumile Mateza, where we incorporate Mongi Khula, and we take a little trip to the mortuary. I'll not be right, man, because you're a Hall of Famer, Radio Hall of Fame 2014. MTN Radio Hall of Famer, Putco Mafani 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave the final word to you, sir. You've got 15 seconds to give me that beautiful commentary.
Kangalele Pola Pie, Push Box, and Babala, Tata Independence Stadium. Ilala de Mauraki Swallows. Yeah, if you Moroka Swallows, you're going to be Zwanjani. Namaraki Swallows. Jungle Fana Pile, Jersey number 9, Park with Bush Box, Monge Hula. Jamazi Mambiza Nestam number 1 Mongilona. Can't do that Kena Ungabi. Une mortuary. Icona. Then the mistake on a butchery.
Putco Mafani, love your energy, love your mind, love a lot of things about the human being that you are, sir. Keep inspiring. Radio will never ever be the same again. Thank you so much. You're a top chap. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's Putco Mafani.
When the CD is out, buy it. When the book is out, buy it.
It did. I will take it on. Don't worry. Marawa TV is here, Baba. It's here for you. I don't want to touch too much on the book. That is your story. When it's out, we're going to delve through it. When the CD is out, it's all shy up a wee background. So don't worry. We're only starting the journey right now. So subscribe, like. It's Marawa TV on Marawa Moments. Putco Mafani. Thank you, chap.
I thank you, Marawa, for the Marawa moment that you have afforded yours truly. I thank you.